Welcome to another great episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Shaun Green. I got a great guest here coming all the way from Canada, Farzin Mazinani. He is an author. He's a transformation coach. He's a certified emotion code practitioner, certified belief clearing practitioner. He's a creator of a modality called joyful quantum healing. He actually told me when we first talked, he recently wrote a book in a matter of 2 weeks. So he has a great wisdom and higher understanding and knowledge. And I'm just very blessed and happy to have him here as a guest on the show to tell us about everything he's currently doing and his beginning journeys and what all made him be the man and the great person he is now. So just to give a little backstory about how you see sense, we focus on elevating and aligning mind, body, and spirit through teaching actionable strategies, fundamental principles, relentless focus on empowering every beautiful soul to harness their highest potential, cultivate awareness, enlightenment of peace, and inspiring an elevated conversation with a new approach to self-discovery and steps toward mastery. Ms. Mazinani, well, just tell the audience a little bit of your backstory and some of your beginnings.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to this great show. And so what I can tell you about my background is a couple of breakthroughs that I experienced in my life, because those epiphany moments are the things that we have that opens up our understanding about ourselves and about others and about life. It changes our perspective. So I have a couple of those. The first one was at age 24. It was about 30 years ago. What happened was I started my search at age 12, actually. I had some big questions about the meaning of life and the meaning of joy, the source of joy, where can I find joy in my life? Because I was missing that joyfulness that I had as a kid. So I was looking for it. I was searching the books because at the time there was no access to internet. There wasn't existing. I had access to the books. I collected more than 1,000 books in my personal library after 12 years. Yet, to be honest with you, I was even more confused than the starting point, because you don't know what you don't know. But when you open up the Pandora box, there are a lot of things that you figure that you still don't know. So I was so frustrated. I couldn't find the answers to other people, to the 20 different paths that I went through the books. So I said, enough is enough. I'm going to be serious. I'm going to do something about it. So what I did was I said that I'm just going to go to a room and trap myself in a room until I find the answer to those questions. That's what I did. So it might be a crazy idea, but the thing is, when you're frustrated, you do everything. Life didn't have meaning for me at the time. So I was looking for that meaning. So that led me to that decision. So I went to the room, closed the door, turned the light off. There was no window inside. So I am sitting in the darkness. And when you're sitting in the darkness, you don't know if it is the daytime or nighttime or what time it is and stuff. You are facing yourself. And that might be the most painful experience that we have, because all the emotions come up, all the thoughts come up, and then you are trying to quiet your mind. And the more you try, the worse it gets. That is always like that. You try to quiet your mind, but it doesn't help. So I was using different techniques, different ways that I knew I couldn't get the results. So finally I gave up. What happened after was I'm sitting in the darkness with silence. And all of a sudden I felt a sense of heat in my heart. It started and spread all over my body. So I felt that my body is burning from inside out. So that was quite an experience. Why? Because I can give you an example how it works. It is hard to describe it, but sometimes with example, it's more understandable. So what was it like? If you have an ice cube in your hand, you go by the ocean, you drop that ice cube into the ocean. What happens is that ice cube is still an ice cube and the ocean is still ocean. But gradually that ice cube starts to melt. And the last piece of that ice cube, when it is melted, what happens? This is no ice cube anymore. It's all ocean. I was melting from inside out. And what happened was in that split second, I felt that I am one with everything and everyone. And that was quite an experience. It was hard to describe it, but the way I can say about it is that the things that I learned from that experience. I came out of the room. I didn't need to stay there anymore. It took me really, now that I found I was there close to 5 days. And then when I came out with a couple of understanding. So one of them is the difference between joy and in happiness. Happiness depends upon outer circumstances. There should be someone or something that makes you happy. But joy is different. Joy is in our heart. And when we carry that joy element, all of us carry that joy element in our heart. So it doesn't matter what stance you're in. If you have access to the source of joy, which is within your heart, you can always be happy. So that was the first thing. The second thing, I realized that there is a difference between knowledge and wisdom. What is the difference? Knowledge is those bits and pieces. A leg understand about something, like a puzzle. We put those pieces of the puzzle together to find out what the big picture is. But wisdom is different. Wisdom is somebody just shows us the end picture of that puzzle. And all of a sudden you understand it, you know it. And all the science or all the knowledge comes, branches of the wisdom that we carry in our heart. And every one of us are one idea away from being on top of our game. To give you an example, something like Airbnb. Somebody came out with an idea to just rent out one of the rooms in their house and make money out of it. And they started to developing that as a system that other people could do it as well. So it is spread like a wildfire. The whole world is using it now. So it came just as an idea and somebody acted on it. We all have those kind of $1 million, $1 billion ideas in our hearts. You're carrying this.
The aha moment.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the wisdom that we carry. We have it. But we're looking for knowledge. We're looking for copying somebody else, which doesn't have the same effect. So the third realization that I was understanding after that experience, because you, in that moment, you are connected to the source of wisdom and all the answers are there to your questions. So you don't have any question because all the answers were there. So the third one was about the meaning of life itself and our mission as somebody who was living in life. What is my mission? That was the question that I always had. And the answer was, my mission is to express my unique spark. Because every one of us is a unique spark. True people are exactly the same, even twins. They are not the same. They are here to express their uniqueness. As long as I am practicing authenticity and practicing expressing my uniqueness, I'm fulfilling my mission in here because I'm expanding myself and I'm helping the world to expand with me. That was another realization that I had. That was the expansion. There was two elements, joy and expansion, that are the God-given capabilities, that potential that we have, because those are joy and expansion. They are both available. So joy is within our heart and expansion is through our experiences. And expansion sometimes comes with pain. Why? Because it's like a snake. It's growing, all of a sudden, all the skin doesn't fit. So the snake has to shed the skin in order to just grow. This is part of the growth. So pain is part of the growth. So if we look at it that way, if we can change our perspective. And I knew that understanding from that moment about all those. So what happened for me was I went through a period of pain in my life. That pain was taking me 15 years to resolve. So it came
It's the-
from
the
an
next-
so it came from an accident at work. So I was lifting something, and all of a sudden my back froze. I couldn't move, and then so I had to go to therapy for 15 years. Why? Because almost every week I would get frozen neck. I couldn't move my head to the sides, so I had to go to physiotherapy or something that give me that release. And nobody could help me about the source of that because on MRI tests, nothing was showing up. So the specialist would say that we don't know what to put our fingers on because there's nothing showing up. So I had that problem for 15 years, almost every year. So what happened was a friend of mine came and she said that maybe I can help you. And she gave me a couple of phone calls. And what is trapped emotion is an emotion that we do not process completely. I give you an example. Sometimes
There's your friend. She was a nurse, a friend that helped you, or a doctor.
no, she wasn't a nurse. She wasn't a doctor. That was, I was suspecting if she can help me or not. But she said, there's no harm. Let's try. Let's try. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. So she gave me a phone call, a couple of phone calls. Over the phone, she released those trapped emotions that I was carrying. And I was fine after. Pain didn't come back. Was wondering about the process. How is it possible? With my analytical mind, I couldn't grasp that because it is not something that you're familiar with. And she explained that trapped emotions are the emotions that we sometimes experience. We cannot process it completely in our subconscious mind, just store it in our body. And everybody's carrying more than 200 of those trapped emotions. For example, trapped emotions. So if I go to a test, fail the test, and I expected to get a good mark, but I failed the test. So it is failure, emotion of failure. When I feel in my body. And then I start mentalizing it. I talk to other people about it and I blame myself and others for that. So I start mentalizing that. That is the differentiation between us and animals. We have something called prefrontal cortex. We analyze things, everything. So sometimes it bites us in the back. Why? Because we analyze those emotions and then we cannot process it completely. And our subconscious mind says that enough is enough. I'm just going to store it somewhere in your body to deal with it later. And then we store that emotion. When you store an emotion which has the lower frequency than the average frequency of your body, what happens is that it brings you down. Then it affects the area that it is existing. So sometimes it exists in our organs. So it creates imbalance in our body. And then the other thing is that it absorbs the same emotion again and again. If I have the emotion of anger for any reason, the trapped emotion of anger, I felt that vibration in my body. That's why I snap out very fast because I have that emotion.
That's why people show a certain energy all the time. It's trapped inside of it.
Exactly. I realized that the way we behave depends upon the emotion that we carry. And we judge ourselves based on those. And we judge others based on those. But we have to go further and deeper in our view about ourselves and others. So imagine that you are wearing a white shirt. You go out and it gets some stain on it. The stain is not you. The stain is a stain. You can wash it. But sometimes we say, I'm angry. It doesn't make sense. I'm just carrying the emotion of anger. I cannot associate myself with the anger. I'm not my emotions. Because if I'm my emotions, my emotion changes, I should be a different person. But I am the same person experiencing different emotions. I'm not my emotions. So there are more into it. I'm not my physical body. Why? Because if I be my physical body, if I cut my hand and put it in front of me, I have to be a different person. But I'm the same person. So some people associate themselves with their physical body. They say, I'm black, I'm white, I'm yellow, whatever, race, gender. And those kind of things, they associate themselves with that, but we are beyond that. We are not. That is just a layer you're wearing to experience. It's just a suit that we wear to
Listen
go
here.
underwater, to
Yeah.
just be able, or to go to the space. It's just a suit. It's just like a layer. When we look at it this way, we can see that we are not that layer. We're something else. We are not our emotions. We are not our thoughts. Why? Because if I be my thoughts, if I quiet my mind and have no thoughts, I shouldn't exist. But I'm still existing. So I'm not my thoughts. I'm beyond all those layers. And when you realize that is the moment that you can see yourselves and others from a different perspective. You don't get tangled in their behavior because they did this or that. It's just a stain, their layer that they are doing it. So you can forgive others. You can forgive yourself. You can have more compassion and love towards yourself and others. So that is the key, to realize that. So those are the moments. That person who did that to me said that you have to tell him to do the same thing for others. So it changed the direction of my life. So I went and studied under Dr. Bradley Nelson, became an emotional code practitioner, who started just removing those layers and stains from people. And so transformation comes when you have those kind of layers removed. I give you another example. Have you seen the horse racing, in the horse racing? Yeah,
When they have the blinders on.
exactly. They put the blinders around the eyes of the horses. Why? Because they just want the horse to focus on the track. If they are distracted for a split second, what happens? They lose the race. So they have to be focusing on exactly what is in front of them. So those layers, those trapped emotions, more than 200 trapped emotions that we carry, act like those blinders. We just see things through those filters in a certain way. And that might not be the best way to see things. We are moving on a specific road. We cannot even see that there are other roads we can take. When we remove those blinders, our view expands. And then we see the other places that we can go and explore and have experience and stuff like that. So it helps us to expand ourselves. So it's very important to have that kind of access to the higher consciousness, the higher choices that we have. And in your show, you call it the sixth sense. So it's important to have that, activate that kind of sixth sense.
That's the intuition.
It's like an antenna, and that guides us through life the best way that we can.
Just move on. And so to really have awareness of that, the sixth sense, you have to, the first step really is that to go on that inner journey to find out who you really are, right? As you did, you went into the room for the 5 days and you got the answers. You finally got the answers to what you've been searching for. And then also, then the next step was you going to your friend and her removing those emotional blocks. And so when the emotional blocks were removed, you actually grew. You were like really, truly in complete oneness with everything around you. You had true awareness and you could see your future possibilities more clearly. Am I understanding that right?
Exactly. So that is a process, but there is a third step into it as well. So one of those blocks that we have is around our heart. Why? Because I was asking this question. If our heart is the source of joy and wisdom, how come people cannot get access to that? That was my question. And my question was answered based on the experience that I had with that person who removed my trapped emotions. She also dismantled my heart wall. What is heart wall? Let's talk about heart first. Heart is very sensitive. Why? Because sometimes we are heartbroken, and it is not something that we just say it imaginary thing. It's not imaginary thing, it is literal. Why? Because a scientist in Japan discovered that there are lines on our heart. So he was a doctor, so he was examining heart, and he noticed that there are some lines, like the hairlines on the heart. So he noticed those are the marks of a broken heart. So our heart breaks. It is literal. They can see it in the X-ray. That is the first thing. It is exactly like a heart attack. Sometimes I feel pain in my chest and shortness of breath or something. They rush to the hospital and they say that you probably have a heart attack. They go and examine me. They say that it is not a heart attack. It's a broken heart syndrome. So there's a medical term. The exact symptoms that we get from a heart attack. So nobody can tell by the outside or symptoms that if it's a heart attack or a broken heart syndrome. So our heart is very sensitive. And what happens is, and another thing, so based on the HeartMath Institute research, they found that for every message that goes from the brain to the heart, 9 messages go from heart to the brain. So it shows it was the boss in our body. It is our heart, but we think is our brain. What happens is that we have to protect our heart, but sometimes we cannot do anything about it. Why? Because we are under a trauma, emotional trauma. Let's say we have a breakup, or we have a loss of a loved one, or we are under pressure from something that is bothering us emotionally. So we are heartbroken. So our subconscious mind says that we have to protect the heart because the heart is the most important thing in our body. So subconscious mind goes and builds a chamber around our heart. It is like a skeleton. What is the material for that? Is trapped emotions. You have 200 of those trapped emotions. So our subconscious mind goes and grabs some of those trapped emotions and builds a chamber around our heart energetically. So then we can be a little bit safe inside when that trauma is happening. But that shelter is like a bomb shelter that when the country is under attack, we go to a bomb shelter. Our communication is lost with outside world. Now 10 years has passed and we are still living in that bomb shelter. So the feeling is exactly like that. That trauma passes, but we are still in that self-made shelter or prison or cell, living in a society within that cell. So it limits our communication with ourselves, with others, and with life. So that's why we don't have enough access to the source of wisdom and joy, which is within our heart. And more than 93% of the world have the heart wall based on the research that is done. So we have to do something about it. And that's what one of the other things that I do for people. They dismantle their heart wall, and I see the miracle that happens in their life. It's like if you're freedom. You are free from those chains that are bringing you down. You are like a new person. You have a new perspective. You have new ideas. You can explore all those choices that you have. You're not limited to a specific road that you're forced to go through.
It's like there's nothing blocking or interfering from the signal from the source, from the oneness.
Exactly.
Which is the wisdom.
Exactly.
And that makes a lot of sense. Can you walk us through? I know everybody's different. Every person's different. Like every person, nobody's the same. How long does that process take for somebody from start to finish, helping them remove that heart wall?
For the heart wall, it usually takes 2 or 3 sessions for me when I'm working on that. And it depends on the person's type of heart wall they have. For some people, it was much thicker, and for some people, it's not that thick. So it depends. We have to go based on the capacity of the subconscious mind. Because when I work on somebody, it's like an emotional surgery. So when you do a surgery, they cannot open 2 or 3 different parts of your body and do the surgery. Imagine that you have it, so your body is not tolerating that. So you have a specific capacity. You have a specific capacity. The same thing is like that. It's like a surgery. We go and based on the capacity of that person, start removing those layers. Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 sessions for some people. Sometimes it's even longer, but eventually they're going to be free from those blockages.
It's been a wonderful conversation, and anytime you want to come back and share some good word and some good wisdom, you're always welcome here on Heighten Your Sixth Sense.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be here.
So it's very enlightening. Basically, your message is the embodiment of the basis of my podcast, and so it's been. I've got pages of notes just same as I did the first time we talked. So it's been a a great experience. And I know my audience is going to enjoy it as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
People, family, this has been another great episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Shaun Green and our wonderful, amazing guest, Farzin Mazinani. And just go check out his website. And that is, the website is joyfulfix.com. And go check out the quiz and buy his book and the audio book and really support his journey because he really has some great information. He's doing great work. So let's give him some support and love. Any last words from you, sir?
The last word, I'm just going to say, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So let's put that into
100%.
contemplation and see what we can bring out of it.
We'll end on that note, and we appreciate you, and you have a blessed day and a blessed days to come. Thank you for sharing with us.